Hello. This video will tell you a little bit about the short presentation that you have to do this semester in EC. Let me give you an explanation. Imagine that your teacher has just told you that you have a short presentation to give. What will you do? Panic? Or will you sit down and calmly think of a topic and plan your work? Or get on a plane and go straight home again? Well, if you're a normal student, you're going to panic first. But after you've had your little panic, you'll sit down calmly and think of a topic and plan your work. No need at all to go home. All right, well, let's have a look at the structure of the presentation, shall we? First thing about the structure is there are three things that you need to do in any academic work. Tell the audience what you're going to do it, and then tell the audience that you've done it. In other words, it's an introduction, a body, and a conclusion. Let's look further into the structure, shall we? Structure 2. So we said we had an introduction, a body, and a conclusion. Now in the introduction, we have greetings, self-ID, we tell them the topic, why we've chosen this topic, and what the main points are going to be. In the body, of course, we elaborate on each main point, and in the conclusion, we restate each main point and then come to a close. Well, what about an example? Let's move to a short presentation example. Hello everyone, and welcome to my presentation. As you may already know, my name is Sam, and today I'd like to talk to you a little bit about myself because I think it's important for students to know something about their teachers and lecturers. Since I've only got about 3 or 4 minutes, I won't be able to go into great depth, so if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them at the end of the presentation. Okay, so given these time limits, I've chosen just 2 things to talk about. Firstly, I'll talk about my professional background, and secondly, I'd like to talk about what I do in my spare time. I don't think I'll be using any really difficult words, but if there's something that you don't understand, please feel free to ask. Otherwise, as I said earlier, leave your questions until the end of the presentation. Okay, well, let's get started. The first thing I'd like to share with you is my professional background. This seems quite important to students, and I guess there are 2 possible reasons for this. Firstly, it's because they're curious to know about their teachers and lecturers. And secondly, they probably just want to feel confident that they're in the hands of an experienced professional. Well, I don't know about that, but I've certainly been around a long time. I started teaching in 1975, and since then I've worked in all the different teaching and learning sectors, including primary, secondary, and tertiary or university education. It's been a good career, and it's taken me to 3 different states of Australia and several overseas countries, including France, Malaysia, Indonesia, and Hong Kong. As you probably already know, primary school teachers are generalists. In other words, they teach nearly everything. So, for the first couple of years after graduating from Teachers College, I taught in primary schools. After that, I went back to university and did a degree in modern languages, which enabled me to teach French, English, and Latin in high schools for about 14 years. This was followed by a master's degree and a qualification in teaching English as a second language, and brings me to about 1995 when I started here at Curtin, and I've been here ever since. So that means I've been here for 14 years. That's 14 years teaching bridging and mainstream courses such as Indonesian, the Masters of Applied Linguistics for language teachers, and the computer-assisted language learning subject through the School of Education. So, hopefully that satisfies your curiosity and gives you a bit of confidence in you. It gives you a bit of confidence in you about me. But really, I have to say, I'm a very lucky person because I just love teaching and learning. But of course, I don't spend all my time in teaching and learning. Believe it or not, teachers are human too and need a break from work just like everybody else. So this brings us to the second thing I'd like to share with you about myself, and that is to tell you about how I spend my spare or my free time. Well, in a strange sort of way, I can't stay away from teaching and learning because I love foreign languages, and I've studied a few to the point where I could speak them fairly well, or if not speak them, at least to the point where I was just happy to know about those languages. Actually, I'm not so sure that my level of languages in foreign languages was ever as good as your ability in English, but I really do enjoy learning them and visiting the countries where these languages are spoken. Now, another of my favourite pastimes is computers. I love spending time surfing the net and using computers to communicate with people around the world, to practice my languages, to listen to and watch interesting programs, and to develop little learning packages on English language like this one, which I post to YouTube, or I just send it to people on request. Funny, isn't it really? This too seems somehow related to my professional life. Okay, well actually I think I should probably conclude there. Hopefully by now you know a little bit more about me in terms of my professional and personal life. I hope this has been of some benefit to you, and if you have any questions at all, I'd be happy to answer them now. Thank you for listening to my presentation.